Welcome back everybody to another one of my ever so classy Japanese YouTube lessons. Now today I'm going to cover something I touched upon in an earlier video and also something very important to learning Japanese. So important in fact that it carries the #1, according to my analysis, the #1 most commonly used word in all anime. Can you guess? Okay, so maybe you don't have to since you can all probably read and YouTube has placed a lovely title above. But nonetheless, today's lesson is about the top 10 most common Japanese anime pronouns. Specifically, this is part 1, the top 5 ways to say the word I, since Japanese has literally dozens of different ways to say the words you and I. Now, this supposed confusing aspect about Japanese is actually one of my favorite parts about the language. The reason for this is that each word actually carries a unique intonation about the personality of the speaker. Don't worry though, this will all make sense at the end of the video. Another note before I begin is that Japanese pronouns are usually omitted in casual speech simply because it's usually obvious about who the speaker is talking about. Personally, I think English is a little bit too pronoun happy anyway. Yet another note is I'm going to be teaching the anime uses of these words. The difference is that anime is much commonly ruder than real life. Obviously, right? I mean, we're fighting demons and death gods here. You gotta be a little rude. But just as a side note, if you're talking to any non-evil beings, be sure to be a little bit more careful. Okay, enough with the chit chat. Let's get started. #1 Japanese pronoun and the #1 used word in anime of all time is ore. This version of the word I is usually used by males who want to appear rough or tough in some way. Ore. 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 Now, in actuality, when I say this is the most commonly used word in all anime, I'm really just referring to shonen anime or anime for boys, since this term is 99% of the time said by males. And on an average, this word is repeated about 10 times per episode, and it's usually heard from the main character of the series. Hemorrhoids! There also exists an interesting combination of the words ore and sama to mean something like the almighty me. This is something you might want to use if you're very cocky or an asshole. Here's some well-known characters that are known to use the pronoun ore. Okay, moving on to the second most commonly heard pronoun in anime, Watashi. In anime, Watashi is mostly heard from older men or women and in formal situations. Watashi. 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 Now, if you're currently learning Japanese, this is one of the first words you'll come across. This is because it's the safe version of the word I, as opposed to ore, which can come across as very cocky or immature. Watashi is probably the term you use with someone you don't know very well. In anime, this is the standard for girls, but for guys, it's mainly heard from older, non-main character males. Masaka, ano baka ga hemorrhoid o taoshita kozo wa watashi wa shinjirarai. And here's some notable characters that are known to use watashi.
さぞりゃ名のある格闘家とお見受けするが私？いえいえ、主婦で錬金術師知ってるでしょ、エルリク兄弟ってあれの身内みたいなものよ。
私は人間になりたいのではない、完全な存在になりたいのだ。
Alright, pronoun #3, Atashi. Atashi comes from the word watashi and is mainly used by girls who want to appear cute in some way. Atashi. 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 Now, Atashi is pretty much the norm for side character love interests. Now, in real life, girls who use this term might be seen as a little bit immature, and guys who use this term might be seen as a little bit homosexual. So girls, make sure to use this term mainly with your girlfriends, and guys, you can use this term with your boyfriends. In any event, as with the rest of these words, be careful on how you use them. Okay, here's some popular characters that are known to use the word Atashi.
それにリーさんも。
ああ、大体の話は聞いてる。
私、ナルトのこと信じてる。どうしたんだろう、私。なんか変。メール。
The fourth most commonly used pronoun is Boku. This is sort of the boy version of Atashi and is heard from mainly younger or less mature boys. Boku. 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 Now in real life, this word is perfectly normal for, say, an adult male to use in an informal situation, but in anime, it's much different, as males usually prefer ore, cocky bastards, or watashi, old bastards. There's a lot of bastards in anime. Now males who use boku in anime are usually very young, below high school age, or are seen as a bit childish, immature, sterile. You get the idea. Yosh, boku datte dekiru yo. Toria! Yatta! Zoma miru kawaii kuma-chan yo! I should also note that in anime, you may also hear a girl using this pronoun. Now these girls are usually tomboys, or generally confused about their gender.
リアクションが後だ。それより早く走れ。でも僕長座さんの犠牲を無駄にするな。
マルコーさんは離れててください。僕とハインケルさんだけで大丈夫ですよ。
The fifth and final most common version of the word I is washi. This is again something you hear a lot more in anime than in actual real life, and is used by extremely old characters. What dinosaurs? Washi. 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 Okay, the use of this pronoun is generally dying out, much like its users, but is often heard from the old, wise mentor character of the series. Now, if anyone else besides an old person would actually use this word, it would simply sound like they're imitating an old man. Here's some notable characters that have been known to use washi.
あなた錬金術師のシルバースタイナーさんですよね。
ああ、わしがスタイナーじゃよ。何の用かね。ナルトちゃんの師匠ジラヤちゃんはちゃんとやり遂げたぞ。
もしかしてエロ仙人もここで修行したの？
わしと二人で随分通ったもんじゃ。
Okay, to recap, the top 5 ways to say I in Japanese are ore, rough and tough, watashi, mature and formal, Atashi, cutesy and girly, Boku, childish and immature, and Washi, old and wise, and old.